Welcome back to another day in Linda's resin room. So I have this huge sunflower tray mold that I got from Pouring Your Heart Out. I've had it for a little while, I've just never used it. I love the sunflower coaster mold is the whole reason I bought this one, because I think it's going to be gorgeous. I want to paint these sunflowers with these mica powders, but I've seen Julie from Pouring Your Heart Out take plastic, and I'm just going to draw around this to know where to cut. And this is why you save your bags of your stuff comes in. And then I'm going to cut around this to lay that in there so my mica powder doesn't go everywhere. And all I'm going to do is just cut right around this. I'm sorry guys, I don't mean to get my arm in the way. And I'm going to cut this out all the way. Now after you get this cut out, you can take and clean the marker off if you want. I'm not going to, because I'm not going to turn it over, so it's not going to be touching my mold. And I'm not a great cutter, and I know I've probably had my arm in the way. Just going to cut this all the way around. Okay, move that out of the way. Now this should fit right down in there. And keep mica powder off of my mold somewhat. Plastic sticks really well. That's why this is good to use. And I've bought better plastic than this too, so let's see how this works. Now I've got 3 different colors that I want to use. I am going to use this Buttercup Yellow from Color Passion. I think I got this from Laura's Art Corner. I'm going to use this Honeycomb from This Little Piggy, and the Pearl X Dark Brown. And what I'm going to do is get this little spongy thing. I bought a whole pack of these off of Temu. Just a couple of dollars. And these work great, because I'm going to paint the center of these with this brown. Okay. And I'm going to go around and do every one of those. Get down, and these work good because you can get down in each one of them little, this is very detailed, and you can get down in each one of those little areas down in there and not worry about missing any of those fine little details. That's going to make this piece really pretty. And I might do a double bloom. This mold's going to take a lot of resin, so I might do the center in a little bloom and then let that cure and come back and do more on top of that in a second layer. And because it's so big, we probably could even do 3 if we wanted to. I'm going to go around and I'm going to do all of those, and then I'm going to take this orange Honeycomb, I think is the name of this. Isn't that pretty? Make sure my brush is clean. And I'm going to brush some of this with the orange. And then I'm going to take the Honeycomb, or Buttercup. Ooh, that just went everywhere, didn't it? And I'm going to go over and just add some of this in there too. So however they end up, yellow, orange, whatever. That's how my sunflowers are going to look. So none of them will be the same. They'll all be a little different. And I think that will be pretty. And then I'll take a baby wipe and clean up around it. But I think these two colors together is going to make this really nice. Alright guys, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do each one of these. We'll do these 4 that I've started, and then I will move on my own and get it done. That way this video's not really long, and they'll save you from having to fast forward through so much. Alright guys, I'm going to finish this up and then I'll be back. Hey guys, so I'm back. I got the mold dusted, and I also mixed up some resin. I have 12 ounces. I figured that would be a good start for a first layer. I did put it in the debubbler, but because I've been stirring it, I've introduced more bubbles. Now this is a pretty thick resin all on its own, and it is 32.7. So I'm going to measure out 20 gram for my white, and then I'm going to decant this. I'm afraid where I've got, ooh, guess we're going to 30. I'm afraid where I've got so much in this cup that it's going to flash cure if I don't hurry up and get it out. So I got 30.8, good enough. But this is going to heat up really quick, it being that much resin, if I leave it in there. And this is a huge mold. I'm not exactly sure how much resin this mold holds, but it's going to hold a lot. Just trying to get it all out of here. Now when you do decant, it will cool down just a little bit because it's not all in that deep cup. It's scattered out, so it will slow down the process of it heating up, which is good. Now let me clean this off. I gotta clean these gloves off. I have resin all over me. Every time I mix up a large amount, I get it everywhere. So, it just seems like it goes all the way up the stick. Just spritzed me down with some 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can also use 91%. As long as it's 91% or higher, you're good to go. Okay, let's get some little things out of there that I see. Alright, now I've got some different alcohol inks here, and I'm not sure what the colors are. So, I do know I want to put a little espresso in the center, just because some flowers have that dark center. I'm going to do 4 drops. I'm also going to put stones in this. So, now this is papaya, and I just want to see if they're, okay, that's an orangey looking color, so I can put a little of that. Anybody else think these things stink? Let's see, marigold. Marigold should be a yellowish, right? So let's put some marigold there. Carrot. Carrot should be orange. It's an orange color. So let's put some carrot on the top of that yellow. What about honey? What color is honey? Okay, it looks like it's kind of a darker yellow. Alright, that's all I'm going to do for the first layer. I've got all kinds of these different colors here. Wasn't sure which ones I wanted to use. I wonder what this caramel is. Is it a brown looking color? Oh, it is. Maybe put a drop of that in there. And then a drop of that espresso right on top of it. That didn't spread, did it? There he goes. He was just slow to the party. Alright, 20 gram. Did I say 20 or 30? I went to 30, didn't I? So I'm going to take my bloom paste, squeeze to the end, drop, squeeze, drop, squeeze. She says squeeze to the end, drop 3. 1/2 drop, you go halfway around. When you open, instead of going all the way around, per Julie, you open halfway, squeeze it to the end, drop. 1 drop per 10, and I've got 30 gram. So let's mix this up. I want it to look like skim milk. Has anybody ever added color to theirs? I've never added color, but let's try. What about a drop of lemon? That's a pretty yellow. Lemon. Just give it a little color to it. I hope this isn't too heavy. And I forgot to keep me out a little resin from a stone, so I guess we'll just be dropping those in. Okay, get my paper towel for this. Fold it in half, pinch. Okay, start in the center. I'm just going to go around. Now I'm a little squiggly because of that heater kicked on. I'm a little squiggly because I can't hold still. Alright guys, that's as far out as I'm going to go with the first layer. It's got some bubbles. Ain't really a whole lot I can do. Touch them and pop them. If you use a heat gun, it causes holes. And that's a little heavy in the center. Alright, let's draw a design. Just going to do a basic pattern here. Going across the top. You don't want to go all the way to the bottom of the mold. Okay. Sorry guys, you couldn't see that one. I know my hand was in the way. Okay. Now I'm going to start in the center and I'm just going to swirl and then go back to the center. Center out, then back in. Now let's drop some different little stones. I've got these little glass beads that I got from, there's different sizes. I got from Laura's Art Corner. These are the black ones. I also have some of this from Laura's Art Corner. Coal black glass glitter large. I'll put a little bit of that in there. See how that is. I've got these brown stones. I think I got them off of Amazon. I'm going to do quite a bit of those, just because most of the time it is a brown looking center. That's probably too much. I'm going to add some of this regular black crushed glass. Just a little of that. And I have these. Kind of have a brown purple tint, and I thought a few of those might look kind of cute. Alright. I'm going to just mix this together and then put a couple of spoons of this. This is a huge mold. About 3 spoons. And I'm just going to press these down. Spread them out just a little bit here. I've got to, oops, sent one. I got to get the resin to come back over those beads. Draw that down in there. Try to get him back over to the center. Okay, just scatter those out. I hope that's the center, guys. Can't really tell, but I'm hopeful. And I'm just going to swirl that again, even though I know it's my stones are on the other side of that bubble. Just going to pop him. Alright guys, he's already blooming. I just hope he blooms in the center. And then we will come back, do a round 2, and do some outer blooms and some more color. Alright guys, I'll see you then. Hey guys, so this is completely cured. So I have mixed up 8 ounces of resin. I have let it sit in the debubbler for 10 minutes, but then I've been stirring it and getting bubbles in it. So it is 32.6. This heats up pretty quickly because of I've got quite a bit of resin in this cup. The more resin you have, 32.9. The more resin you have, the quicker it's going to warm up. Now I'm going to measure out 30 grams of white because we're going to be doing the second layer for the bloom today. So I think I'm going to need quite a bit because we're going to the outer edges. Okay, 30.3. That will work. Alright, then we're just going to dump the rest of this in here. I did quite a thick first layer. Probably didn't need all of that. It could have been a little thinner, but I think it's still going to be pretty. I didn't want to do as thick for the second layer because I do want to put a back on this. And I'm not sure how much this mold holds. It holds a lot. First layer we did 12 ounces, and today we're doing 8, and there is still a lot of room in this mold. Let me just scrape all of this out of this cup. I did mix my resin for 4 minutes. If I have larger amounts of resin, I mix for 4 minutes. If I have smaller amounts of resin, then I mix for 3 minutes. 3 minutes, it gets smaller amounts mixed up pretty good. So, 4 minutes today on the mixing time. Let that drip off there. Okay. Put that in my drainer. Let's clean this stick off. Probably have to clean me off as well. Always get some on the gloves. Just a little bit today, not too bad. Now let's see. I see a little something floating in there. Alright. There are a few bubbles. So I'm going to torch this before I do my inks. I'm going to let it set for just a second after I torch it. Don't get to your edges. You don't want to burn this gorgeous mold. Alright. I see some bubbles I'm going to pick out. Oops, nope. That's actually in the first layer. Can't get him out, can I? Actually, I can. Because it's on the top. I can pick the bubble out of him. The resin will fill it up. And then you'll never know he's there. Okay. It's a few little bubbles. Just get them away from the edge. That way I can torch and pop them. And then I'm going to make sure my mold is level. Okay. Yeah. It's still level. Okay. Just need a little quick torch. And I like this little itty bitty torch because of it's not very strong, and it there's a bubble down in that one too. Let's see if we can pick that one out. Yeah, got him. This little bitty torch isn't like the big one. That big one shoots a flame about 6 inches long. And I just like my little tiny one. Okay, I'm going to let that set since I just torched it just for a minute before I start dropping my alcohol inks. Get a stick for the white. Y'all won't be able to see white on white, can you? Let's do a red one. All right. I think that'll be okay. Let's try some butterscotch. Now in the center it won't need color. That color should be okay. That's in the center and you shouldn't be able to see through that. It does look like the brown and yellow kind of maybe gave it a little green effect, which I'm okay with. Some flowers sometimes have that little bit of green, so I'm not worried about that. That one was honey, and these are alcohol inks from Octopus Fluids. Our next little drop here. This one is carrot. We're going to do papaya. Go right in between those. This one's kind of a little bit of a reddish looking color. Alright, let's do some lemon. Okay. Now we have marigold. I just picked all the colors I thought were yellow and orange that I have. And some tangerine. This one's a bit of a reddish looking too, isn't he? Okay. Let's see. Was the honey the orangey looking color? Yeah. I just want the colors to pull in. Now let's go with the lemon. I'm just dripping it around the edges there. Oops. Sprayed a little bit there, didn't I? Maybe some carrot. Okay, that's enough color. I'm just going to leave that for a second and let those spread before I do my white. That's going to give me time to put these colors up. I've just got a shelf on the wall. There we go. Now let's do our white what time that's doing its thing. Bloom paste, 30 gram. Can y'all see my white there? Okay, twist halfway. Squeeze. I forgot to store this upside down. I usually keep it in a little cup back there. I don't want to squeeze this and then have a whole ton of it coming out. Let me see if I can shake it down. Halfway. One drop. Squeeze till it comes to the end. Then let it drop on its own. 2 drops. Three drops. 1 drop for every 10 milliliter that you use. Cleaned off the top, just wiped it with a paper towel. Ooh, I can feel this resin warming up. Julie's pigmented paste. This is the Bloom from Julie Cuts Pouring Your Heart Out. It's very pigmented. So that's all you need to do your bloom. And you can still see the red through it. So it's translucent. Kind of looks like skim milk. Even if you use a pigment paste of whatever kind, just enough to make it look like skim milk. Pigment paste is very heavy. Use too much, it will all sink to the bottom. And another thing, when you're doing your blooms, if you do your lines straight to the center, they're not going to bloom. Blooms go from outside in, so if they're straight, they're just going straight to the center. There's no place to spread. And you'll get blobbies that way too. As the resin heats up, it thickens up, and that's what we want. We want it to thicken up to where this white will float on top of the resin. it was streaky, so I'm just stirring it again. Still see some streaks on my stick in the resin. I don't know where I'm getting that from. The larger your piece, the faster your resin's going to heat up. Okay. Pinch my cup, wrap my paper towel around it. This is just how I like to do it. Now, even though I know that the center doesn't need it, I'm going to start in the center anyways, just because I know that center has a tendency to blob. And by starting in the center, I can stay level and equal, I hope, around the whole piece. Now, I shake pretty bad, so it's very difficult for me to hold still. So my lines are not going to be straight like a lot of other people's. I kind of get them everywhere, and then I like to go around and just do little tiny thin areas because of I like the way that it looks when it blooms. Okay, and I think I've got all of that white out of that cup. That's going to come out, so I'm not wasting any of it. Okay, now see these little holes? That's from where I torched. Should have waited a little longer, but I didn't. Alright, you can see where my paper towel caught my drip from my cup and it didn't go into my piece. So let's do our petals. Don't go to the bottom, just across the top of the resin. I'm just doing a basic, if I can hold still, a basic pattern. Clock 12, 3, 6, 9, and then you split the difference. Wipe that off, unless you want your color to streak down through there. Okay. Now I'm going to split the difference again because these are some big petals. Sunflowers have little tiny petals, and I want it to somewhat mimic a sunflower. I hope I'm not getting my hand in the way, guys. I'm hoping I'm doing this to where you all can see. Now, on this one, I'm going to go about halfway down and pull out. I just want my petals on the edge to be a little different than the ones in the center. And you can do it however you want. There's so many different ways to do petals. And for this piece, this is just how I want to do them. And you may not even see the edges because of the sunflowers in this piece. So, yeah, if we do, we do. Now you don't have to, but I'm going to give this little center a swirl. You're not going to see it because of the color and the bloom under it. But it's just a habit. It'll make it look pretty on this side until I cover it over with a dark brown. Because I think I'm going to bake this in a dark brown. Maybe. We'll see. do have a couple little bubbles there. See if I can pop him because he don't want to pop. He doesn't want to, does he? Yes, I'm going to try to get it to close. There we go. I have found that if you have little holes in your piece and you just go in the center and you pull it up, a lot of times it pulls the rest of that resin together and it closes those little holes. There's a bubble. Got him. There's a few little bubbles in here. So what I might do is just let it do its little blooming thing for 10 minutes or so and then give it a quick little torch. Whatever that one that is red, I don't like that. Not in this piece. I'm gonna have to look back and see which one that was, because I don't want to use that again. I just don't like it. Alright guys, that is done. So we will let this do its thing, and I will see you back for the backing. See you in a bit. Welcome back guys. So this is cured and we are going to do our back layer. I have mixed up 8 ounces of 1:1 resin. It's very bubbly because it's a thicker resin, and I'm not putting it in the debubbler because I'm mixing color with it. There's no point. I'm going to use this dark brown Pearlex pigment by Jacquard, and this is going to be my backing. Isn't that pretty? Let me find my brown scooper. Okay, I'm just going to do a big scoop of that. Maybe a little bit more since this is quite a bit of resin, and let's see how this is going to look. This mica powder will help to pop some of the bubbles, and then I can always use a heat gun on it or spritz it down with a little 99% isopropyl alcohol because of this is the back. So spritzing with isopropyl alcohol sometimes will leave watermarks. So I only do that if it's the back side. You don't want to do it on the front side. Okay, mix this up really well. I'm hoping 8 ounces will be enough because I've already got 20 ounces in this piece. So I'm hoping 28 ounces will be enough to fill this mold. And it may be a 30-ounce mold. So we will see. I want that powder to mix up really well. I don't want no clumps of powder floating through. I'll put the lid on that because I think this is plenty of color. I think we're mixed up well. All I see is some bubbles through there. I don't see any mica powder. So let's dump this. And hopefully this is enough. We're going to be good. We will see once it all levels out. Everything I can out of here. filled it up very well. I think any more than that and it might have a chance of overflowing. So 28 ounces is plenty for this mold. Give me a paper towel here. Clean this stick off. Clean my gloves. Spritz me down with some isopropyl. I can see the bubbles coming to the top. Now, there's a couple little areas I'm going to go around and try to pull this into all of those little sunflower edges. This probably could have held 2 more ounces, but it looks pretty full right now. It's not doming. I think 2 ounces more would have helped this piece to dome. Okay. You can see quite a few bubbles around the edge. I don't want to get too close to the edge of the mold, so I'm probably just going to spritz this down with some isopropyl. And you can see how it just pops the bubbles. And you don't need much, just a little spritz. Just make sure you're not doming too much, because if you are doming on this piece and you spritz that alcohol like that, it adds more volume and it will overflow. So be aware of that. Alright guys, I will see you back tomorrow for, well, it'll be a few minutes for you guys, and tomorrow for me, for the demold of this piece. Hey guys, so this is cured. Let's demold it and see what it looks like. Gosh, this thing's heavy and big. Something crack off. Thought I heard something drop. Gosh, that's a heavy mold. Alright. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh, I love that. Alright guys, I'll see you back for the next video.